Hello, Anultra community. My name is Matthew Bhargava, and I'm here today with Aditya Lal, SAP Program Director and author. He's joined us today to speak about his journey through SAP and today's landscape of SAP. So, without further ado, Aditya, thank you for joining us.
Yep, thanks, Matthew. I was looking forward for this conversation, actually.
Yes, sir. Give us a little introduction about yourself.
Sure. Yep. Thanks, Matt. You go by Matt, right? So I will address you, Matt. And I hope that's okay with you. I started my career long back. I don't want to say the number, but then it's 20 plus years back, and I started as a warehouse management consultant. At that time, there was no EWM, but then that's how I started as warehouse functional guy. Learned a little bit about SAP and whatnot. And then so far, I would say I have done more than 20 go lives, I would say, as a functional consultant, as a project manager, as a program manager, or as a program director combined, I'm saying. Obviously, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, focus shifted, that is to S4 HANA. And my role is mostly into managing these programs, these transformations, these initiatives, either business or IT initiatives. So over last 6, 7 years since S4 is there, I have done 5 plus go lives, but it's all mostly focusing into retail, fashion, manufacturing, and pharma. Of course, like you said, I have also authored actually a book on SAP Activate certification outside of my day-to-day work, which was published by SAP Press. And here I am. Of course, I live in Princeton in New Jersey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fellow New Jersey and myself here. That is
Yes.
awesome. Okay. So you gave a little bit of insight into what led you into SAP. What made you go into project management? Some people stay functional, stay hands-on, other
Yeah,
people
yeah,
stay
yeah.
project management.
So I'll tell you a story about a project manager, and then it was a great story. And actually, then I'll tell you another story from a client side when I was doing the functional role. As a functional role, um, I mean, of course, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of work. Even for project managers, there are a lot of work. But then I was engaged in that at that time blueprinting, and I was like working 10, 12 hours a day. It was a remote location. We parked ourselves over there. Lot of work that we were doing, and then I saw one day that this project manager, she was a lady actually, she was pretty much relaxed and she was just enjoying her day kind of thing. It was maybe Saturday or Sunday. Like I said, it's a remote place, so it's not like we used to came back to home over the weekend. That was not the case. So we parked there in a different city in India, and she was enjoying it. I was like, what exactly she does? She is here. Probably I don't see her throughout the day for Monday to Friday, and then she's enjoying her day. I think I want to do what she is doing. And of course, money was definitely at that time important, right? I was fresh out of college, maybe 3, 4, 5 years of experience at that time. Having said that, I that was the first kind of like attraction, I would say. And then couple of years later, I was actually in a not in a project man, I was in a project doing the same functional role. We went to a factory, and we suddenly that project manager actually resigned, and I was the senior most guy over there. Some medical issues and whatnot. In India, we had 3 months of notice period, but then we had to, I mean, I had absolutely no say at that time. They let him go because of the medical reasons early on, and they said, Adi, you are the senior most guy here, so you are the project manager. I said, I don't know anything about project management. I mean, I have absolutely no training how to manage a resource. Now I'm saying resource. At that time, I don't know what I was saying. I don't know how to manage cost and budget. I don't know how I identify a risk and whatnot, right? So that kind of thing came up. And like every manager, he said, "Oh, don't worry about it. You will manage well and whatnot." So here I am, not knowing anything, became the project manager. And ironically, maybe a week later, we had a presentation, and that's where actually my intention to become project manager solidified. Where I was shivering like anything. I have not done that level of presentation. Of course, I had done presentations with the business units and whatnot, but then it was a huge one. And senior level executives were there and whatnot from the factory. And I was spending more time in bathroom rather than outside, giving the wanted to learn and whatnot and talk to audience and whatnot. But then this gentleman who was the general manager of the factory, he came in, tapped on my shoulder and said that, "Son, I know you will do well." And then he went on. And I still remember that, and I'm getting goosebumps when I still feel that kind of thing. And that presentation went well and whatnot, but that inspiration actually, it solidified my intention to become a project manager. And since SAP was my forte, it continued.
Yeah,
Long story, but then this is actually, I feel very happy when I talk about these two stories.
I can tell. I can tell.
Yep.
Hey, sometimes that's the best way. You get thrown into the fire and you learn on the run. And look at you now. You're an author of a book that has to
Yep.
focus
Yep.
on project management.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
That is awesome. Adi, my next question for you. You've done 20 go lives.
Yep.
I'm sure one of them stands out as one of the most
Oh,
challenging projects. And
mm-hmm.
you still talk about it in interviews, I'm sure. I'm sure you're telling clients about the goods and the bads of this project. What was that and why was it so difficult for you?
I definitely go back to my original story where I was first kind of like pushed as a project manager, but of course that was difficult for the lack of my knowledge. So I cannot say that it was a difficult project. But one of the recent projects that I have done, which is for a $60 billion global fashion manufacturing retailer and supplier kind of organization, where actually we were implementing S4 fashion. We were implementing, of course, retail, manufacturing, and other than core, the core modules integrated with Concur, Ariba, and whatnot. So, um, um, the biggest challenge, I mean, not biggest, I mean, there are multiple challenges that we faced over there. One is the objective itself. Now they're moving from ECC to S4. So the objective itself was the standardization and harmonization of the overall code, right? Now, business processes in Germany is different as compared to what we have in the US and then to Canada and whatnot. So there definitely is some level of customization is needed in the when they were on ECC, if I remember correctly, it was 65% level of customization that they did. And now they're talking about less than 5% customization. So business was not very happy with this overall objective. So business buy-in was extremely limited when we were going through the explore phase of the project. That's one challenge. So expectation mismanagement was there, I would say, not expectation management. It was completely mismanaged. And being global is a challenge in itself, right? That's another aspect of it. Now, with this, key stakeholders were not aligned actually throughout this engagement. And prioritization, when I say prioritization, for example, so for this particular organization, we had US geography, Canada geography separate, we had LATAM, we had France as one geography, rest of the Europe, another geography, and so on and so forth. France being headquartered, obviously, it get the number one priority. But then there are several other factors in terms of risk and risk assessment and whatnot. Right now, having said all of these things, the prioritization of these geographies was extremely difficult, getting difficult because of the different stakeholders having different objectives and whatnot. Another aspect for that particular implementation was lean data migration team. What they thought was And I don't know from where that thought came in. They thought that data migration is easy and can be done quickly with the limited team, and there was absolutely no quality in that data migration. So as we are moving forward into the process in implementation, I think we take one step forward, we take five steps backward. We take another one step forward, we take, and it continued for some time, and then we have to, somebody have to build the cat, and we have to tell the sponsor that if we continue to do this, we are not the right integrator for this. And because probably you will need to do it by somebody else. We assess the risk, we kind of like replant everything. It's an additional what, uh, maybe $4 or $5 million of expenses that they had, but then at the end we were able to resolve it by identifying those risk mitigation plan, addressing those early on. We were able to kind of like we went live maybe 7 or 8 months later than the originally planned, but I would still say that it was a successful project.
Awesome. Yeah, that does sound like a challenge. And
Hmm.
data migration is not easy by any means.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep, yep, yep.
Thought for sure. Okay. Well, being that you've just spoke about that, when a company is thinking about moving from ECC to S/4HANA, I've heard many different answers speaking to
Yeah.
consultants, sitting on interviews. From a project management standpoint, what is your pitch to a client if they're considering that move?
So, good question, Matt. Actually, let me start with a story that personally I had, which has nothing to do with SAP. It was my personal aspiration that I should go for an MBA, actually, and that was what, maybe 7, 8 years back. And I appeared for the GMAT exam and got good numbers and whatnot. I got selected in the Ivy League. So and this was without much of thought. Of course, I did practice for GMAT and whatnot, but I got into that, and then reality strike. Actually, I have to leave my job. I have to go and stay in a dorm, away from my family, wife and son. Right. We are on top of that. We need some regular means. Of course, my wife was working at that time, but then it was still too much for her. So then, after a long conversation with my wife and my son, we decided not to go for MBA at this time. It was 200K of expense plus on top of that, right? So what I will advise to the client is, don't do what I did for my personal goal, right? Learn from my mistake. What probably you need to do is assess your current situation first. You are at point A and you need to go to point B. So define that point B. There may be multiple paths from A to B, and that is fine. You don't need to understand all the path and pinpoint what exactly is the right path, but then you need to understand point B. So basically, what point B is, define your objectives, whether it is business objectives or IT objectives. What are the, even take a step back. What are the challenges that you are facing today? For example, supply chain related challenges, finance related challenges. Other aspect is what are your growth opportunities that you want to look for? For example, you want to expand at another geography. We are doing a project currently at one of the supply chain manufacturing organization. They want to expand to Asia now, and that is within their 5 years plan. So take those into consideration. That's your point B, right? Now, that is definitely one aspect of it. So another aspect is commitment of different stakeholders. That's important. We need to have right partner. Now, when I say right partner means, are you planning to go for a global partner if you're a global organization, or you are looking for a niche partner, focus on, for example, fashion, focus on manufacturing, focus on retail, locally for the United States, locally for Canada, locally for Germany, how all of these solutions will integrate. So think about those strategy that definitely needs to come in. Another aspect which I think is similar to this is whether you want to go for the big bang versus geography wise approach. You want to go live globally or take country by country. most of the business are risk averse, which is right. And I have seen the approach they take is go country by country. Now, this is all about strategy. Now, another aspect is the execution of this strategy. Build that roadmap, have the right partner, right level of resources, assess your resources. Where are you in that area? Uh, Assess your organizational change requirements. All of these things will come into play. Data requirements, data footprints, technology roadmap. So assess where you are, where you want to go, identify the right partner, work on the right strategy, and then execute. Of course, this is at a very high level, but then I think this is something that definitely clients needs to understand, organization needs to understand.
Absolutely. It's definitely a big move to make. So they need all the information and they need
Yep.
to a good decision. Very interesting story you let off with there. I've learned something new about Aditya today. I did not know.
Yep.
Going to transition here a little bit, Aditya. It's something I've seen all over LinkedIn. I've heard SAP speak about it at Sapphire this year. It was a major talking point. And
Yeah.
that talking point is AI.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Where and how do you see AI being used in SAP today? And even perhaps in the future, what do you think is going to change about your role with AI?
Yeah. So um, from AI market is evolving at this point, right? And AI itself is evolving. IT is not mature yet. I mean, we still say that, I mean, when we say the product life cycle, right? So we know that IT itself is in very initial stage, and so does AI. Now, but we have still seen a lot of improvements and business cases from AI perspective, and a couple of them that we implemented in our project, and I will talk about that because that's my first-hand experience, right? So we were doing this is for the manufacturing company again, and they have a huge warehouse, and all of these warehouse requires a lot of cleaning, and those cleaning requires a lot of equipment. So we have these equipment now. We had this IoT based devices plugged into these equipments. So combined with AI and IoT, what we did was we implemented a solution for a field service management, SAP FSM, field service management, where we actually predicted the failure of these cleaning equipment, I would say, and we actually also what we also did was and then we based on those predictions we had those scheduled maintenance going on and whatnot. So we scheduled those preventive maintenance kind of thing. And it was a huge success. And with the same in the same organization, with the same set of we all what we equipment we also did was in warehouse. If you go to warehouse, you will see a lot of equipment that are keep. I mean, it happens at home also, right? You buy new products, new products. You will use more of the new products than less of the older ones, right? Same thing with these organizations. So I start monitoring the usages timeline again with AI usage duration with AI and IoT, and we started suggesting that start using this equipment on this day and this equipment on that day, kind of thing. Start predicting schedule and whatnot. So it actually helped in terms of keeping the usages at an optimal level for all of these equipments. Another example that I can give you is from the analytics cloud. This is for the retail organization, and it's a very common business case. Based on the customer behavior, we started predicting what customer would like to buy, what they have bought so far in that series, what exactly the customer can buy, and in that way there was targeted campaign, right? And I'll give you an example from my personal perspective. Recently, we were doing some hardscaping work at my home, and I will not name the retailer, but then when I start looking for one or two of those products, they actually started suggesting that, okay, you are looking for hardscaping lights, you probably will need wire, you probably will need connectors. And based on the quality that I have chose before, it also suggested this is the better quality as compared to that. So that is the level of, of course, this is not something that we implemented, but this is my personal experience, and this is where SAP is actually going. This is where, and I know that they use SAP actually. So I'm sure this is where and this is where we have used AI. And it's
Absolutely.
very
Absolutely. I see it myself. I think we all see it with the predictive ads, things
yep,
like
yep,
it's going to be very interesting to see the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years. And
yeah,
AI steps in with S4 HANA and implementations for companies.
yep, yep.
Aditya, I'd like to take some time right now to speak more about your book. I would
Oh,
love the
yeah.
community to learn more about, how you got to writing it, and then also where they can purchase it so they can read it and find out more about your knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks, Matt, for bringing it up. I mean, this is the loveliest topic of the day, I would say. And this is it's not that, okay, this is my fifth book that I wrote, but this was the first book that was published. So what I'm saying is, I wrote a book on PMP certification. I wrote it, but nobody published. I wrote a book on PGMP certification, but nobody published. I still have those manuscript. In that way, this is the fifth book, an SAP Activate that I wrote, and then SAP Press said, yes, we can publish it, and it got published. It is more of a certification book. See, Activate 13 at that time, that was the certification for project management, with all of practice questions and answers. There are chapter and question and answers. There are notes in between that can actually help you focus on that particular topic, so that you can actually get your certification exam clear in the first attempt itself. Now, currently, I'm working on the second edition of that certification. That includes Signavio, Cloud ALM, Leonardo, and few other new products that SAP has launched and topics that SAP is talking about.
Awesome.
It's a
Well,
great experience, I would say.
it sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to buying my first copy of the book. And Aditya, please tell the community, where can we purchase this?
Oh yeah, you can go to sappress.com. It is available on Amazon. It is also available on Barnes and Nobles, and other retailers also.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, Aditya, this is all the time we have. I appreciate you joining us, giving us your insight on project management, AI, and even telling us about your own authored book. Congratulations again. Thank you
Thanks,
for.
man. Oh, thanks a lot for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.